Hi, I'm Becca Otis from Five Lines Pottery in Indianapolis, Indiana.
And I'm Ryan Durbin from RD Ceramics, located in Southgate, Kentucky.
And welcome to Wheel Talk.
Hey guys, we've loved answering all of your questions so far. If you'd like to hear your question on the podcast, please send them to us on Instagram at wheeltalkpodcast or by email to wheeltalkpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks. You stopped your singing as soon as we started?
I don't know. Hi, Ryan.
Hi, Becca.
Hi. I should move my mic closer. How are you?
I'm doing good. Happy Tuesday. I'm surprised you wanted to record today.
Happy Tuesday indeed.
Why are we recording today instead of tomorrow?
Because I'm going to a workshop.
Fun.
There's not very many people, so it's COVID safe. Yeah. I'm going to a workshop in Kansas City.
Who's the potter? So if people know who that is. You were looking him up.
I know, I can't remember how to say his last name.
I think it's Messenger.
It's Danny...
Or Messinger. Or Messinger.
Messinger. Danny Messinger.
He's on Instagram, and
we'll see.
He throws a lot of the really big pots.
Mm-hmm. He throws, like, huge pots.
Yeah.
And, yeah, so he is he lives in... Yeah, he's in Kansas City, so... that will be interesting, fun. Yeah.
How far of a drive is that?
Another friend, so yeah. It's 9 hours.
Oh gosh. Are you going the morning of or what?
No. It starts on Thursday. We're leaving tomorrow.
Okay.
So.
I was like, geez, yeah. 9 hours. I mean, you like to drive, but I didn't think you liked to drive that much.
I actually do like to drive that much, surprisingly, but yeah. Yeah, it'll be fun. I'm going with a friend, so... Yeah.
Nice.
Wait, did you talk about your day?
No, I just threw it right to you.
You deflected.
Okay, you didn't even ask me anything.
I said, how was your day?
Oh, I said good. And then I went right to, yeah, we're recording on Tuesday. Yeah, I didn't get...
Wait, I'll go and then you can trail on.
Yeah.
My day was good, and I trimmed a lot of pots today. That is all.
Yeah.
Okay,
because normally you'd be trimming and you'd be exhausted. We wouldn't record today, so...
Yeah, but today I feel fantastic.
That's
today.
good.
I don't know why.
You're in a new location here too. A lot more bright lights, so...
I'm in Rebecca's studio. She got a studio at our apartment complex. And for those of you who don't know, I live in the same apartment complex as my boss, and who's also my friend. And they have these business, like, little suites. There's 3 of them, and so she got one to have her own little personal studio in. And I was like, can I record the podcast in it? So, yeah, and it has better internet than my internet, and it has lights.
Nice.
So that's exciting. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, tell me all about your day, and also tell us about Rachel's birthday.
Rachel's birthday?
Your super hot wife.
What about her birthday? We went out.
You guys
went
places.
out for her birthday.
I know, but where'd you go?
I'm trying to think of what day it was. It was on Friday. It was this past Friday. So she turned 30. You know, it was funny. She was actually like. She likes the birthday stuff kind of thing. Like, she likes to plan stuff. But, like, she wasn't sure if I was, like, trying to plan, like, a secret party or something for her 30th. Which I was not. If I was just super under the radar about it. Right. She was like, I haven't heard anything from your mom or my mom or anything. Like, I don't know what's going to happen. So... Yeah, so anyways, all we did, we went downtown to a jazz bar in Over the Rhine, and then we went to an Italian restaurant in downtown as well. So that was kind of the night. She even played Skip-Bo with me.
What? On her birthday?
Yeah. Well, The jazz club is like really popular, so we had to decide either to go at like 6 o'clock or go at 10 o'clock. So we went with the earlier one.
Hoping there wasn't as many people there.
So I mean, you still have to book a reservation and stuff because it's pretty popular. So, but there wasn't a ton of people. Like, you were still pretty good, and they had some live sax and piano and stuff. So yeah, that was her birthday, and then we're actually kind of extending the birthday this weekend. So we're actually going to Austin with her parents.
Oh, right.
For kind of her birthday trip with them. So that's kind of like how we're celebrating with them.
What day are you leaving?
We're leaving on Friday.
Okay, so I need to get the editing done pretty quick.
I mean, I'll take my laptop with me, but yeah.
Okay, cool.
I mean, it's not like I'm going to be
Well, that
busy.
sounds exciting.
Yeah, so we're doing that for her birthday, and then my birthday will be in less than a month now, so.
Yeah. When is it again?
April 20th.
April 20th, everybody.
Oh, gosh.
Remember to wish Ryan a happy birthday. Remember what I did last year? I blocked him.
You did?
You
did.
I blocked him on my Instagram and told everybody to send you a happy birthday.
Was it through... I'm trying to think of how they did. Did they just share stories? I can't remember.
I can't remember. But you should all do that again. So his birthday's April 20th, 4/20, easy. Hitler's birthday, it's the day of the weed. It's the day Columbine got shot up.
Jeez. And it's the day that I was born in 1991. So I'll be
You can't
30.
really you can't really forget that.
Those are usually the
I'll
top
never
3,
forget
so.
Those are the only 3.
Yeah, I don't know. There could be some bullshit holiday on 420. I don't know.
I feel one of my other friends, her birthday is on the 5th of November, and I'm like, yes, thank God. Because of V for Vendetta. Remember the 5th of November.
I was trying to remember what that was from, but I remembered the little saying, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's pretty much what happened this weekend, and then today, I had a fucking kiln air out again. I think I load it too quickly. It's like a balance of, I've got so much stuff that I need to load this kiln good, and it's like, is this shelf too close to the thermocouple? It's like half an inch or an inch. I think it's like an inch away.
Does that matter?
That's the main thing that I've seen. When I've loaded my kiln and I've got an error, I've unloaded it and like moved either a piece away from the thermocouple, so it's like within an inch all the way around it.
You should be leaving an inch all the time.
I know, but I'm talking about, I think it's the shelf. I think the shelf is maybe an inch away, and it needs to be a little further. But it could be that there's a piece right next. I don't think it's right next to it because I was pretty good about that, but.
Do you remember when we had a discussion like 6 months ago, 7 months ago, maybe it was a year ago, and I told you that you should get a brand new kiln, and you were like, no.
I mean,
and then
that's
was like,
probably happened on like 4 different occasions that you said that, and this will be like the 18th time that you said it, but yeah.
I would just like to say I told you so.
But I basically have a new kiln. I put brand new elements in there, and new thermocouple. Like, there's all brand new stuff in there within the last probably 6 months.
I know.
And then the other one has brand new elements in it too, and a brand new thermocouple. So I'm like reset.
You're reset.
But I'm overloading it, so.
I don't know.
I just need to balance out the like, hey, is it worth putting more stuff in here rather than having confidence that you'll be able to unload this in 2 days and not have to refire this son of a bitch?
Yeah. Do it right the first time.
Yeah, I need to do that. I don't know why I was getting greedy.
I need to do that.
I was getting greedy. So the kiln didn't fire, and then I'm not in a rush or anything for that stuff, but yeah, and then I just trimmed a few things, and I was coming up here to record, and I'll like see the cats or whatever. Like, we have the windows open because it's nice out, and they're usually like sitting in the window like waiting and stuff. I couldn't find them, so I was like, where the hell are they? And then you like shake the treats and you come upstairs and look at all their spots, like you can't see them. So Marvel was stuck in my studio. She must have been sitting up there like looking for the mice. And then Autumn was like on top of the garage, like the corner of the garage door area. Like, I don't even know how she got up there. I think she jumped from the vehicle like into the rafters or something. So I don't know. But yeah, she was just stuck in the corner over there. A bunch of dust bunnies all over. So we got her down. Yeah, so that's my day. Oh, I am like finalizing the last things of my taxes. So I think I need to.
Good. I've sent all my stuff to my accountant, but I need to check in with her because I unfortunately when I moved. This is actually a good tip. When you move, or when you are somewhere, and you own a business. Like, I put my business as my residential address because I didn't really have any other place to put it. And so I filed all my taxes under there, everything like that. So my stimulus checks came to my business. And
your recent ones or your old ones? Since you
I'm
left.
getting there. And so you cannot forward your address when your business is your like residential. Like, normally when you move, you can be like, forward this address. Yeah. And it just tells the UPS or USPS until everything gets fixed. You can't do that with a business. So
yikes.
Even though it was my primary residence, technically not really, but I couldn't forward the address. Therefore, all of my mail from the IRS, because I didn't do a change of address on the IRS side, has been going to the studio, and I can't get a hold of my my landlord's just blowing me off, and then all my friends are like, they've like asked, and he hasn't, it's just kind of like a shit show. And so 2 of my stimulus checks are at the studio.
I thought they direct deposited that stuff. Maybe you had to do a setting.
Yeah, if you get
something.
A rebate, but I haven't gotten a rebate in 7 years.
Oh, so, you said stimulus though. Are you talking about the payment stuff that they're sending out the government for COVID?
No, you get a stimulus check deposited, like direct deposited in your account if you got a rebate on your taxes. Because like a rebate that's direct deposited into your account on your taxes because they have your account information, but they don't have my account information.
So it has to do with how you filed your taxes. I gotcha.
So I got a check, and so the last stimulus check, which I don't even know how much it was for because I didn't get it, went there, and I still haven't gotten it. And then this most recent one, it still hasn't gotten there. And even if I send in the change of address to the IRS, which I know I'm late, I realize this. I didn't realize that this was like going to be an issue. I still won't get it. So
damn. So you almost have to have somebody, your landlord, basically, is the only point. Because have there been friends that walked by the shop and been like, "What's in there? What's going on in there?"
Yeah, like nobody knows what's going on there. I even texted the neighbor, and he never texted me back. It's like I am invisible. So I think I need to text one of my friends who I know is super scrappy and get shit done, and be like, "Okay, mission impossible."
I guess it sounds like if you do that, use like a PO box or something. I'm assuming you could probably forward a PO box.
Yeah, that's my suggestion. My suggestion is definitely, if you move to a business, if you can, get a PO box. Because it was so convenient not to have a PO box, but I think if I was ever going to do it again, PO box for sure.
Well, now that you know all that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So there's that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Fun stuff.
All right. So do we go into... Did you want to read anything from the survey?
Yes.
We had a few of you that filled out the survey since our last couple episodes that we mentioned it.
Yeah, thanks.
And put the link in our show description, so thanks for sending those in.
Yeah. Also, I proposed before we started this podcast today that we should have some sort of an anonymous tip section where people can grieve their dirty laundry, or not dirty laundry, grieve their
grievances is what you're going for there.
Air their grievance. Is that how it goes? Air their grievances.
Yeah, it's not grieving
about pottery
or something.
Grieving. Well, you could grieve dirty laundry.
It's air dirty laundry and airing of grievances. I think. And then there's something with Festivus in there with the airing of...
know if I've ever told you this, but like my vocabulary, like I think is at like a 3rd grade reading level. I actually do think that that's the case. Anyway.
These are regional too.
Yet
like, some of these things are not. You don't go to school learning saying vocabulary. Like, it's just something you come up from who you're around.
Anyway, we're going to do an anonymous response to our, if you want to say something anonymous, say it. This one's also a longer one, but it's a good one. Tell potters to get over the idea that others are stealing their work when they are using commercial-made products as your decoration. Elan transfers, Sanbo transfers, and decals, and Amico and Mako glazes, because you will see, i.e. Elan transfers, because you will see others' work that look like yours. Why? Because you bought the same damn stuff. Don't say people stole your design or their work looks like yours. No, your work looks like other potters' work. Get over it. If you don't want your work not to look like others, then make your own underglaze transfer designs and learn to make your own glazes. I will also add one step ahead. This becomes unanonymous because Becca's adding to this, but also I think I would add in ribs to that. I feel like ribs for design are often used just as a base, and so then that design is then, like Garrity Tools sells a certain rib that has like a V shape in it.
Like a foot fetish rib. I was thinking like a metal rib.
Yeah,
I'm like, are you talking about like the toothed rib versus the metal rib?
Yeah,
I'm like, I mean, you could make your own custom rib.
Like a different designed rib, and then they make that design on the side of their pots, and then another person makes that design because they have the same rib. It's the same thing,
Yeah.
Yeah, you do have to kind of like, I like this. But I like all of them, so.
Yeah, they're funny.
Okay, what else do we got?
All right, so we got a couple short questions. So the first one comes from Boldover Ceramics, Ashley. What are you each most looking forward to in 2021?
I feel like 2021's already over.
It's only March. We're 1 quarter through it.
Oh.
You know, it's funny. I still haven't written down my goals for the year. I got them in my head, but I just didn't document them.
That's good. What are you looking forward to?
I'll just say, like, one thing I'm looking forward to is just getting back into, like, getting some shows on the books and getting some kind of consistency of, like, having something on the calendar and actually having confidence that it's going to happen. Because with last year, all these shows just like, is the show going to happen? Is it not going to happen? So you like apply for multiple shows in a weekend, and inevitably they all get canceled or whatever, and you got to figure something out. But that's one thing I'm looking forward to.
Nice. I think that I didn't expect me to say this. Well, I'm looking forward to 2 things. One's not pottery related, and that is that I'm actually moving within my apartment complex in June to a 2-bedroom apartment, and I'm really looking forward to that because it's mostly because it's like right by the courtyard in our apartments, and it's really cool. And also, I get to I get to stare into Rebecca's studio and be a creeper.
So you get to start like peeping Tom in it over in June.
Yeah.
You got some binoculars or something to peer in there and just look across the way?
No, I mean, I totally won't. There's curtains here anyway. But that I'm looking forward to that, and then also I am really looking forward to getting my kiln. I ordered a kiln, and it is coming at the end of April because everything got pushed back so much. So
nice.
I'm really
did you have
excited
that date on the calendar, like when you first ordered it, April, or did it keep getting pushed back? Or
it was pushed back. Just because of COVID. Because I got a cone art kiln, and they're based in Canada, and they were shut down for something.
Ooh,
and then, well, COVID stuff, obviously, but then and then they got pushed back a little bit more. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to kind of exploring my own designs and stuff. I've been doing a lot of testing, but it'll be cool to just do more of it and be more in control of the kiln. So
yeah, it's hard getting all that consistency of like just getting the studio to a state that's like workable. Yeah, and you're like, oh, I'm waiting on this kiln, and like it won't be here till April.
Yeah, like,
and then you're like, what do I? You know, it's kind of a standstill there if you don't have a reliable kiln, and
yeah.
But I mean, you could be cranking work out, but if there's no end in sight of how it's going to get fired and all that, unless you take a bunch of pieces one-offs to Rebecca's, but it's like
right, and that's it's kind of like, but yeah, so that's what I'm looking forward to.
Nice. All right, the other question was from Bearded Pottery, and he asks, where do you plan to travel first after COVID? I don't know what after COVID means, but
when everybody has the vaccine, I guess.
I guess, yeah.
I don't travel anywhere. I'd like to go on a road trip somewhere.
Where would you go? Would you hit like certain states,
south.
like just a road trip to go like to Florida or something, or to like a specific set of cities in a certain area?
I would okay, if I had the time, which I don't think I will, but if I had the time, I think I would probably. So here's the thing: I've been to 39 states, and I wanted to hit 48 by the time I was 30. I'm also 30, and I will not hit them by the time I'm 31. But I would love to hit all the southern states. I haven't hit like Tennessee and like I've been to Georgia, but not really. Texas, Louisiana, North Carolina, South Carolina. You know, those type of states. So
nice. Yeah, there's some good. Depends on what you like there, but there's a lot of good. We like the Savannah, Georgia, and Charleston, South Carolina. Like those are kind of like older historic kind of places that have some nice scenery, and the weather's pretty good. I mean, it's pretty brutal in the summers, but they're nice to visit. Ours would probably be, I won't say like overseas and stuff. I'll probably say we were planning to take another trip to Hawaii. Since
are we gonna go on a cruise?
We might. I don't know when that would be, but are you talking about a cruise out of like Seattle? Are you talking about like Alaskan kind of thing, or are you talking about something else?
I think so. Your mom wanted to go on a cruise.
Rachel's peeking her head in here, like shaking her head yes. I mean, she's not gonna she's not gonna shake her head no to anything. I mean, travel related. So I would say that's probably where we went to Hawaii when Rachel was actually training to be a flight attendant, and that's where she wanted to go. I think that was right around after we got married, so a little more than 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've never been to Hawaii and Alaska, and those aren't included in my states that I want to visit because I do kind of want to visit them, but like they're far.
Yeah,
I chose states. I want to go to the states in my car. Those are the states I want to go to. So, yeah.
So those are the questions we got. All right. Do you want to springboard us into the topic for today?
Yeah. Okay, so if you follow me, which a lot of you guys do, you would have seen this video already. And
it would probably be a couple weeks old by the time they hear this episode, so or a few weeks old.
It'll be a couple weeks. So I'll tell you kind of the backstory. I did a TikTok right when I was starting my job at Graves Co. And it was just a dumb TikTok, and somebody commented, the same person commented, I give this job 2 weeks, and you went from a unique creator to a sweatshop worker. LOL.
Was it just a video of you talking about what your new job is and like showing you?
No, it was a video of me complaining about how I had to measure out 100 balls of 6-ounce things of clay.
Oh, I gotcha.
It was just it was a joke video, you know. It was something super dumb. And so I posted this video, and you know what? I'm just gonna play the audio.
All right.
We're just
Make
gonna,
sure it's close enough.
play it. So I got these 2 comments on a video right when I started working in Indianapolis, and I kind of wanted to address them now since I have been at my job for 2 months and also thrown over 3,500 pieces. I've deleted the comments so you can't go back and find them, but I think that as a society, we put a lot of emphasis on creativity within business, and I feel like business can be a lot of different things for everybody. For me, when I owned my business, it wasn't creative. It was exactly what this person is assuming my new job will be. And I love where I work right now, and I hope that I'll be there for a long time. I don't mind coming in doing something every day. Actually, it's pretty freaking rad. Okay, so that was the video. And then Chris from Claybeard, Chris.
It sparked conversation between.
Yeah.
You kind of got some back and forth.
Yeah. Christopher Kinney said, "Do you think we as a whole put too much emphasis on creativity, not just in business?" And I was like, yeah, we do. And so that's kind of what we're going to talk about tonight. But tell them about the other podcast.
Yeah, so this kind of made me think a little bit about a podcast I heard on Freakonomics. I think their tagline is like the podcast that explores the hidden side of everything. So it's episode 263, and I want to say it's titled In Praise of Maintenance. So they talk a lot about the workforce and how much focus and emphasis and like attention gets put on jobs and professions that require maintenance versus innovation. And, you know, like you could just think of it like infrastructure as well. Like how good are roads built and infrastructure built, for example, with maintenance and in mind for lasting a long time. You know, is our bridges or whatever, when they build bridges, how important are they building it with maintenance in mind for the long term versus, hey, we need to build a new bridge because this one's shit. Like, that's kind of an example. But, you know, relating that to pottery, how much emphasis is put on maintenance in the pottery business or just making pottery or maintaining your business versus innovating and being creative and kind of doing something new. And creativity is kind of a general word too. It could be, it's not saying that if you're doing stuff that's maintaining the business, it can't be creative. They're not one versus the other necessarily. Yeah, I think that it's funny because I feel like I have subconsciously felt this way for a very long time, but I didn't know how to like put it into words. And when you sent me that podcast, I was like, yes. And but also because like forever people have come up to me at shows and, you know, in my shop or in my whatever, and they're like, wow, you're so creative. Like, it must be great to have such a creative outlet as your job, like blah, 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 you know, and I have resented the word creativity, I think, for a while. And it's not even because of the word creativity, just because I almost felt like when did they have this wrong assumption of like what you get to do yeah, well, they have this wrong assumption of what I get to do, and maybe it's me just thinking that creativity isn't all it's built up to be, but like, you know, like my pieces are designed specifically. They have like, there's a reason that they do it, and it's not because I'm creative, it's because I'm
like being almost analytical about it, and or maybe I have the wrong definition of creativity.
I think we could also be getting a little bit in the weeds of, someone who's an outsider that doesn't know anything about what we do sees what we're doing as creative, but when we're in the weeds of it, we're saying we know all the different things we could be doing in this medium. I don't think what I'm doing is necessarily creative, but to an outsider, it could be completely creative because they don't know how to make a single thing.
True. Okay, so I feel like we probably should have started this off with the definition, but we didn't. So here we are. Creativity. Wow. You should Google it because it's interesting when, under it, they tell you how to say it. It is spelled unbelievably. Anyway, it's a noun. The use of the imagination or original ideas, especially in the production of an artist's work. And when they say production of an artist, they mean the...
production of an artistic work is what it says.
Artistic work, yeah. They mean like the creation of an artistic work, like the... Not production like doing it over and over again. They mean it like a film production kind of thing. Yeah. I don't feel like what I do daily is creative at all. Like, especially at Gravesco. Because I'm just, well, and coming back to, like, maintaining, I am literally maintaining the design that Rebecca has created. She created it, and I'm maintaining it.
Yes.
To be sold.
I mean, and one of the things they talk about in that podcast is about the risk taking that's involved in innovating versus maintaining. For example, when really big businesses buy out other smaller businesses, it's because the smaller businesses can take the risks to be creative and innovate and spend time and money to do all that, whereas a really big business has to spend a bunch of money to maintain, to keep up with all of the, you're talking about like a production studio. So like how much time and investment does Rebecca need to put into actually maintaining the number of pieces for the demand? And then like, is it worth risking spending time elsewhere to do something that they're not really sure about? That's where the, the innovation comes in. There's more risk in the innovation.
Yeah.
Than the maintenance.
We're kind of jumping around, but I feel like we're going to settle in eventually. But, it's a large topic to unpack. Mm-hmm. But also, you were talking about, like, products, too. Well, I was thinking about how I was talking to Ryan, not you, Ryan Van Hoy, and he was saying how... there was a guy that, like, people would always ask this guy, like, I want to make something new, and he said, make it better, that'll be new. Make it good, that'll be new. Make your piece good, that'll be new. And I was thinking about that in relationship to this too, like, when you're a new student and everything is about new. Like, everything is about, I want to make a huge bowl. I want to make a huge vase. I want to make this. I want to make this. Want to make this. And teachers from the dawn of time have always been like, could you please just make a fucking cylinder? Just make a cylinder. and everybody's like, no, I want to make this because it's exciting. And we're like, just learn the fucking basics. Like, like, you're never going to move up if you don't move, like, in this line, like, eventually, at least.
I mean, it depends on what you're going for. Are you going for a really shallow understanding and, like, full breadth of, like, types of forms, or are you going for better quality? because the
Right, and that
quality is
moves back.
kind of refined by the number that you make and the practice.
Right. And that moves back to that other video that I shared this week about that guy telling the story about the pottery teacher, and he split his students into two groups, and he said one group was make it about quantity and one group was make it about quality. And the group that was the quantity group, their pieces ended up being more quality than the group that was the quality group, because they did it so many times that
Through repeating it, they got better and refined it and improved.
Yeah, and if you think about that in a creative standpoint, that has nothing to do with creativity. Like, it's literally maintaining and like...
It's just putting the work in.
It's just like putting skills to use. That is it. There's maybe like one aspect of creativity, and that is, I want to make this shape. But then after that, it's how am I going to make that shape good? Or fast, you know?
Who do you think imposes the creativity? Is it internal? Or is it...
I think so.
Is it a pressure to feel like I'm in this space, I'm doing this kind of work, or I've got this hobby or whatever it is in clay?
I think it's society. Like, I think it's the clay community and the customers.
The customers
like,
that
how
are
many
pushing the
customers?
creativity?
I do, because how many customers and how many people that buy your things are saying, "Oh my God, it's amazing that you have such a creative job. It's amazing," and then that subconsciously moves into your brain and is like, "Oh, I gotta be creative."
I think you're putting too much weight on them saying creative, because we have different definitions. Like I was saying earlier, like them being an outsider talking about creativity can put so much stress on you if you're like, "Oh, I've got to be creative." If you continue to like feel like you got to compare yourself and level yourself up to these other people that you see around you and peers that are more creative than you, then you're like, "Oh, I'm..."
Yeah, but it's always going to be subconscious anyway, you know? If somebody you don't even know every day says something about a red t-shirt, I guarantee you're going to start wearing a red t-shirt sometime. You know, like, you're wearing a red t-shirt. I did not even that was not in my but
I think it's contextual with who says it. For me,
that's
if
true.
somebody's going to say it, like,
true.
I'm going to, like, if there's another potter or a peer that's saying, "Oh, that's a pretty interesting way of doing that. Like, I haven't seen that before." If a potter says that, I think that holds more weight than somebody that's just out in the public that says, "I've never seen that before." They've seen a spiral mug that I make, and they say, "I've never seen that before." And you're like, millions of people make spiral mugs. But I'm not going to shoot them down and be like, "All right." You know, they could have not even seen many handmade pieces before. So you making a handmade piece that's just spirally, that's not store-bought, is creative to them, because I was able to do it with my own two hands.
Before I even started doing pottery, I don't think I'd probably ever really considered or even saw pottery. Like, really. Other than the classic, like, art school. Like, I went to a really small school, so we had one wheel in the corner that people were allowed to use once during the quarter. But, yeah, I feel like there was no concept of even what pottery was when I was younger, as opposed to now. And now it's my whole fucking life. But,
when we talk about maintenance, what kind of, like, tasks... I've never thought of maintenance in relation to pottery or, like, the business, but what kind of tasks do you kind of bucket in there? I know you kind of talked about what you do for Rebecca is maintenance, but is that...
Yeah, well, but I also think that in business, especially, well, when you own a business, if it's a pottery business, maintenance is everything from doing your books to doing your taxes to packing a piece in a box, you know, and shipping it off to, like, those are all the things that maintain. So the creativity that you're exuding is your initial design, right?
Could be, yeah.
right? Or the way you glaze it or something like that. You know, there's very specific aspects of the process that are your creativity, and then I think that almost everything else is maintenance.
Yeah.
I mean, like, marketing is certainly
there's little
creativity.
points of creativity. Yeah, I would say like
Yeah.
running a social media account is more creative probably than some of the, like, with what you decide that you want to photograph or what you want to
Yeah.
video. Like, that is pretty good to like scratch my creativity when I'm trying to
Yeah.
figure out what to post. I think that's pretty creative.
Yeah, if you like it.
If you like it. Do you have to like what you're doing to call that task creative, though?
Well, I don't know. I don't know if I necessarily consider my social media account creative. Maybe it is, I guess.
Depends on how, like, what attention you put into it. Like, what, like, I kind of craft it, you know? I tried to mix it up and choose what I want to show and what I don't want to show, because I have a ton of things that I could include, but I have to put it together in a certain way that it's still interesting, that it's teaching something occasionally, it's sharing finished product, it's kind of reaching customers from a perspective of they might not know what I'm doing in this video or something, you know.
Yeah. I feel like, you know, when Chris asked me about, like, do you think that we put a lot of emphasis on creativity as a whole as in a society versus business? I feel like we're not answering that really, because we talk about business all the time, but so I don't really know what to say for that. I think we do, but like, I do think that when we're talking about pottery, and like small crafters, you know, there's a lot of steps that are missed due to the excitement of the creative aspect of our life. Did that make any sense?
Can you repeat that?
Okay.
Let's see if you can repeat it, and then I'll see if
yeah. I feel like when crafters and potters, like, especially when you're new, there's an excitement that is all about, like, oh my God, I'm going to create these things. I'm going to make cool pottery. It's going to be one of a kind, blah, blah, blah. And it's completely overlooked by the other parts of that make it successful. So, like,
kind
we were talking about, like, the books and the taxes.
Yeah, the business side of it that helps you maintain,
like
and actually make it
side.
scalable versus
that make it successful. Like, and talk about the chewing gum thing.
Oh, in that episode, I think they made a quote that was I don't know if it was related to businesses, but I think it was just saying the best businesses can walk and chew gum at the same time. So it's not one or the other. It's you got to do both, kind of in tandem, and figure out the best way to maintain what you have and, like, have it scalable for the future, as well as innovating and being creative when you need to, and you can do both and balance them out.
Right. See, yeah, so it's like, it's not like we're saying that creativity is bad. Like, we're not. But it might be the part that people see the most, and they fail to acknowledge the part that might be more important for longevity within, like, pottery or business or life.
Would you say the foundation of what you're making and everything, still, like, the base of it is creative, and it has to come from creativity? If you just focus too much on the business side of it and just do it for the business sake, is that, like, gonna come through in what you're trying to sell? Because if you're trying to sell it with, like, sales in mind and just doing the business, like, first and foremost in our space, like, if you don't have creativity as a foundation, does that affect it or hurt it, or
Well,
as in
I
like
think
what you
let's look
create
at
and what you want to put out there, you know?
well, let's look at the bigger from what we know, let's look at the bigger companies within pottery and versus the smaller companies in pottery. So like you and me and you know, Josh or whatever, versus like an East Fork, I'm gonna put this in a Fiesta ware because it actually is a pottery. But you know, Fiesta ware, and then what's those other ones that are huge that do ram pressing and all the schnaz? And
I don't know. Is it an Instagram one?
what's
John Paul DeFini or something like that? Or Florian?
Yeah, the guy that makes... not Florian. The guy that makes all of the... but Florian's a good... I feel like Florian's a good midway of that. So,
I feel like the quantity he's making, his, like...
What do you think the
percentage... social media is creative. I mean, I still think, like, East Fork is... Like, East Fork is so big, but, I mean, don't you think it has to start from a place of creativity, or else they can't...
No, I do...
It's kind of like a value set, sort of.
It has to start from a place of creativity, but when does that creativity become like you can't continue with... So, like, the percentage... Like, when you start a business, your percentage of creativity versus maintenance is what? Like... 60-70% creativity versus 30% maintenance. Like,
I would say like 90% creativity because you don't care about making it sellable or anything like that. You're just doing it for the fun of it.
Okay, perfect. So 90% creativity versus 10% maintenance. And then slowly, as you're creating more, as in producing more product, gaining more clients, and
or you're just trying to like
more money intake,
pay for your supplies or something, like you're trying to just sell the pieces to pay for the studio that you're renting or something.
Slowly that ratio is evening out until you hit like a middle ground, right?
That's where you're like breaking even, and it's no longer a hobby. It's
no longer a hobby. You're breaking even. It's no longer a hobby. You maybe have to hire a bookkeeper. You know, you're like at this point, you're going to shows and you're making enough money to live off of. And then, okay, so then when you move up, okay, so then once you're like past that middle ground, what becomes more important? Maintenance. Because you've already set the bar of what your pieces and your style is, right?
Given that you're going to stay in that same style and the same quantity and all that stuff.
Like any successful company has created a style that's stuck, right? Mm-hmm. That Studio Ahari or whatever, the one in Denmark, I can't remember. I have no idea how to say their name. But they have like a very specific style. There's a ton of different colors, but it's a very set style. Like you look at it and you're like, oh yeah, that's them. You look at East Fork, you're like, yeah, that's them. So once you've secured that style, the initial creativity of building your style and like building your brand is now kind of, I feel like it's now like put on this back burner. Not that it's not there, but it's like stable. You're like,
it got you to that point
steady.
though.
Yeah, it did get you to that point, and you're holding steady. But now you have to hire people to make your pieces. You have more money coming in. You have to pay for kilns. You have to do all these things.
Or you have to quit your day job and like do it.
Yeah.
Maybe, or
Yeah, and that ratio of creativity versus maintenance is shifting.
Yeah.
And now, but then if you want to continue to grow, you have to like scoot that creativity bar back up. But like you can't get above 100%, or else you're not doing
100% maintenance.
Yeah.
You still have to come up with products that are kind of in the realm of what caters to the audience and like what's gonna catch. Like you can't always sell the same piece to the same customer year after year.
Right.
You've got to come
You
up with
always
something
have to be
new.
innovating. Like you still have to be like innovating as a small business at least. It's like why Rebecca got this studio that I'm sitting in. Like she's gotten to a point where she's like, and I think every business owner gets to this point where she's like, I don't have any time to like figure what I'm supposed to do out. Like I don't have any time to like make new products, to make new things, because people are asking me all these questions and like berating me with all this information that I can't just sit down and do my own shit, you know? And
Right.
So she's like realizing that maintenance is such a big part of her life right now and that she needs to kind of like level that out and go back to creativity, you know, like, but yeah, I don't know. I don't really know if there was a point to that, but.
And it could just be you know, when you're in your, like, you put your business hat on, maybe you're like, okay, it's time to focus on the, you know, the production. When she steps in her studio at the, you know, at Graves Co., you know, she's in 90% maintenance mode, 10% creative mode.
Yeah.
And then when she steps into her new studio, she's maybe 40% maintenance mode, 60% creative mode. Or it's completely different from that.
Yeah.
So she knows when she steps in that studio, she's just having fun and figuring out what she's enjoying and what she likes. And then, like, you know, what's scalable, what's sellable, all that stuff can kind of work its way up.
Yeah. I think that also what I just popped into my head right now was the phrase starving artist. And how that like screams like 100% creativity, 0% maintenance. And how like,
I mean, sure, a lot of people would love to just
this,
make whatever the hell they want 100% of the time and have no sense of
right,
needing to sell it to make your bills or market it to people or like
eat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like
you live for your art and that's it.
Yeah, but like how much have we as a society like just like put that in, you know, oh, you're a starving artist, like, oh, you're an artist, like, oh, your whole life is art. You like this is all you live for, you know?
Or like, okay, what's your real job?
Right. Yeah.
So what about where you're at with your new body work? You're kind of in. Where's your percentages at right now?
Oh, I'm at like 90% creative. I feel like.
Yeah. So you just flip the switch. You're like, all right, bookend that. Now we're in a new spot. Like start.
Yeah,
over.
I feel like I'm still paying for QuickBooks, and I'm like, why? Yeah, but also I think that but also I feel like with the difference is that I'm in 90% creativity mode, but when it comes time, that switch will be much more drastic than I feel like a normal business kind of moves up and like scales that ratio of creativity to maintenance, because I've already done it.
Is that also because you're figuring out, like, you're still testing a little bit of what is going to work and then what's possible with, because I'm guessing you have scale in mind right now, a little bit of like, what can I actually do in a timely manner and price it appropriately that could sell, that I'll be happy with.
Yeah.
And then kind of how you want to do your business. Like, do you want to do monthly updates? Or do you want to do, like, quarterly updates? Or do you want to sell in person? Or do you want to sell online? So,
yeah.
So a lot of those
that's there.
Past experiences kind of factor into how you can make that shift quickly when you need to.
Right, and I already have a customer base, too. You know, a lot of the times when you're starting a business and you have to kind of, like, move up into it, you're like building your customer base. My customer base is already there. It's just like on hold. It's just like, hey, I'll be back. You know, it will likely more than likely not come back as strong, but but it will come back. And so, yeah. I think that's the part that's like, it's going to be, instead of like a gradual climb, it's going to be like, okay, I have decided.
Yeah.
The decision has been made. But yeah, what do you think your business is right now in ratio of creativity to maintenance?
Shit. It's probably like 30% creative, 70% maintenance. I mean, the creative side for me too, I can kind of think of it like the different bodies of work that I could be making right now. Because I have like different lines of work. I have like the standard production kind of stuff. I have like production plus, which could be like the production stuff, but I put some glass in it, or I do some texture or something like that, or certain glazes. And then there's like the carving stuff, so like that's my like high-end stuff where it takes more time, and I can like take my time and figure out what pieces I want to put that on, or what pieces I want to scale it to. And that's where I'm kind of testing out different forms with this texture carving technique. And then I think that's like where I spend my time can kind of dictate what's being creative versus what's just like, I need to just make a bunch of stuff. But I mean, I think the bread and butter stuff, like the everyday stuff that I could sell a mug for $30 is the maintenance, which I love doing the throwing, and I love just building up stacks of bisqueware. Like, that's great for me that I can pull from when I need it, because I know that's what sells when I go to shows. Like, the maintenance stuff is what's going to sell, and I'll get a few creative pieces. Like, if we're doing percentage wise, it might be like 20% or 10% of my like more creative pieces are what actually sell at shows, and they're priced accordingly. If we're talking about like maybe with the money aspect, it might be like 25% or something of the sales are like the more creative stuff versus the bread and butter stuff. But yeah, I just kind of think of it in relation to like the customer base. Like the customer base for everyday mug, that somebody who doesn't already own a mug, for instance, or a return customer that wants to buy a bowl that already has a mug, like that customer base is so much wider than the customer base that could see me at a show and like buy a carved mug for $60. So
yeah,
I kind of have to balance out what I'm spending my time doing, and that's where the decision making part comes in, I guess.
Yeah. I feel like I really like the term innovation when they use that in the podcast versus the term creativity.
They don't really say the word creativity. I mean, they're talking about it mostly for like businesses and like infrastructure and stuff, but
I like that word.
Innovation?
I like the word innovation, because like when you were talking about like the everyday mug and stuff like that, I was thinking about how a lot of us have like customers that are repeat customers, and like they expect innovation. Like they expect like
that you're going to make a bowl that's going to match their mug that they've already got, and they're going to be able to buy it. But
like they, like, you can't.
Are you saying like refining your product that you've already made? Is that what you mean?
No, I'm not saying refining your product. I'm saying like moving forward within your products too. Like obviously, like we're not disputing the fact that you need to create, right? You obviously do need to have like creative moments and quote unquote innovation. But like, if I made the exact same thing every single year for 20 years, I'm not gonna, like, there does have to be a level of innovation that has to happen to continue the growth within the company to keep the customers. Unless you have a product that goes away, like toilet paper. Like, toilet paper hasn't changed, right?
It's also
I mean, maybe it
disposable,
has.
so if you make pottery
Right.
that's disposable or that like inherently gets gifted, maybe as long as people are gifting it, then
Yeah, but
you keep
like,
getting
that's
customers
the
back.
difference,
But
right? That's the difference, right? Because we're talking about maintenance and innovation. Well, especially when we're talking about just life in general, like, maintenance involves, like,
waking up, brushing your teeth, go-
yeah, like, just like regular things, but also things that go away. So, like, I have to maintain keeping my toothpaste in stock. Like, the toothpaste
yeah.
dies. Like, you use it. It doesn't die, but you use it, so you have to get more. Whereas in pottery, unless you break it, you don't need another one, because pottery is forever. It's like, God, what did my friend say last night? We had such a good conversation about this. He was saying, because, like, he was talking about how they've been innovating with, like, ceramic, how they, like, put a ceramic coating on pans because it's so much more of a, like, a thermal heat, like, induction. Conductor, yeah. And how he was saying that, like, the cool thing about ceramics is that it's potentially the first and last thing to be used, because it's the first, it's been here forever. Like, ceramic has been since the dawn of time.
Yeah.
But it's still being used, so it doesn't go away unless you break it, right? It doesn't deteriorate. And so there has to be innovation within pottery, because if there's not, then nobody's going to buy the same mug every year,
As well as there's other potters to buy from. Like,
That's true.
there has to be a reason that they like your stuff to come back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not making a bunch of, like, new things here and there. Like, I'm still trying to figure out how to match the supply and demand a lot this year, and, like, pricing factors in with that, so that kind of comes into play, so that I don't kill myself with keeping up with the customer base that I have, and then the shows that I have planned and stuff like that. So, but yeah, adding new things here and there just to get a pulse on, like, what works and what doesn't work. But otherwise, yeah, the one thing about maintenance that I was thinking about, one thing that you definitely have to maintain, unless you're changing some of the way you're handling the business. Like, right now, this week, I'm delivering, like, 3 different orders to some consignment shops. That's a maintenance heavy task. Because, like,
Yeah, that's true.
they're selling, and they're like, we need more stuff. Which is great for the business, because they're selling stuff, and I'm getting money in my pocket. But also, that factors in with one reason why I had to raise my prices. Like, as they need more stuff, if I can't keep up, because they're getting more traction as my stuff's been there longer, and then, like, I'm getting better about giving them things that will sell.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of getting the ball rolling and keeping it rolling. So, yeah, having to deliver so many things and knowing that I'm going to get 40% is going to get cut off that when I make the money. So, that's definitely a maintenance heavy task. But that's where, like, the quantity of making things efficiently kind of comes into play, that I can afford to give them. I can afford to give them like 100 planters to sell, and hopefully that'll hold them over for 3 months or something into the spring, past the spring
Right.
and the summer, until I can have that next pile ready and also sell some on the side. So, yeah, there's a lot of balancing the to-do lists with the maintaining and the...
I wish they would go over this kind of crap in college instead of what they actually teach you. Like, well, not really. Like,
don't you think that dulls
college,
down the art side of it, though? If you're talking about, all right, you're going to have to make this and make sure it's scalable to a customer base. And how are you going to find a customer base?
Yeah, but, like, how many people have gone out of art college and totally failed in business because nobody told them anything about business and nobody told them how to maintain that business? Like the fact that art schools don't have business classes is the biggest disservice to artists in the entire universe.
Just making it so that you can be living for your art, I guess.
It's well, and that goes into the whole that goes into the whole idea of, like, do we put more emphasis on creativity, like too much emphasis on creativity? Like, that's a great example. Art schools put way too much emphasis on creativity when they like, I agree that creativity is a huge aspect of it, but if they don't have the maintaining classes, the ones that tell you how to do, like, how to make a portfolio presentable, how to like run, like, marketing is a maintenance. You know, it is creative. It's a creative maintenance, I suppose. But, like, how to market yourself, how to do taxes, like, how, like, you know, anything about taxes, actually, anything, numbers or anything business related. And the fact that, like, they've just decided that artists don't need that kind of stuff is ridiculous. Like, I got an art degree and I didn't have to take a single business class. I took one marketing class, but, like, not a single business class.
No. Was that an elective or was that part of the curriculum?
That was, what, the marketing?
Yeah, the marketing class.
I think it was an elective. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of have to go out of your way to have the interest in doing that.
Yeah.
And I don't know if tides have changed with art degrees and stuff.
I hope they have.
I didn't get a bachelor's in art. I just got a minor. So mine was just a lot of just taking the classes that I was interested in. So it was a lot of the creative stuff, like alternative firings, and, like, you did raku firing, and then you did, you know, wheel throwing advanced, and you did, like, independent study, which I got to determine what I wanted to make. So there's a little bit of creativity, but also, like, what can you realistically do within a semester? But, like, I wasn't very interested in the whole, like, theoretical stuff about, like, why I'm doing what I'm doing kind of thing. I was just like,
right,
I like doing this and I want to make a lot of it. I want to test out some glazes, figure out what looks good together and what complements the form and stuff like that. And maybe that kind of ties in with, like, the value of functional pottery versus, like, more, I don't know, sculptural or whatever the other kind of more kind of decorative clay than functional pottery. But yeah, I was saying I was just learning a lot of the different types of methods that I could use and techniques I could use within the clay realm.
Yeah. Do you know what I think is interesting is that, like, I agree. I did the exact same thing. But also, I think it's interesting the contrast between all of my friends and the beginning of my graphic design, because I started in graphic design and then moved over to fine art. Graphic design does have all that stuff that is available to them, that were, like, you know, a lot of the classes were like, how do you get a job after school?
like there was an internship option or something like that. I think some of the graphic designers.
There was an internship option, but
I think there was they had kind of that for the college I went to. Maybe that was considered like an independent study or like a higher level option that if you did an internship, you could get course credit for it. I don't know if that exists in the art space.
No, it was more like a portfolio class. Like, how do you set up this portfolio so that you can actually get a job afterwards. And they did like mock interviews and stuff like that. And like my art degree never even that was never even a thought. Like I was lucky to have professors that were like, this is what's going to happen. You guys need to be prepared. But that was never part of the like quote unquote curriculum, you know?
I wonder if it's because of the, like, you're not going to go to a job fair and see jobs in clay.
In art.
Like, maybe it's because there's so few jobs out there for art that the typical way to go is to do a solo. Be a studio potter or a studio artist, so you kind of do your own thing. But, you know, there's no, like, interning. I mean, there is apprenticeships, I guess, where you can work under someone and get paid. Hopefully you get paid.
Yeah, hopefully, God.
That you kind of learn from them, the business side of it, if you ask appropriately or if you're working under the right person, I guess. But yeah, you're not going to go to a job fair and interview for an art job.
Yes.
Not that I know of.
But that's kind of the point, like, right? But like that's kind of the point, right? It's like it goes back to that. Why would you why would you even get a fucking art degree? Like they literally like. It's so frustrating. It's so fucking frustrating. I like, you know, when I went to college, when I got my degree in fine art and I like focused in ceramics, but then actually they ended up cutting the fine art program at Cal Poly Pomona because they decided that art wasn't important enough. And that was my senior year, but I still got a fine art, like a bachelor's of fine arts, right? And I remember specifically thinking, well, I'll get this degree, and I know I won't get a job, so I'll just be a bank teller or something and do art on the side. I remember specifically thinking that. The fact that I have made my life and my profession out of something within the art community is fucking phenomenal. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous.
It's almost like you have to minor in something that is marketable so that you can do a part-time job in that field, and then you can do the art on the side.
Totally. And the fact that we are I love how this podcast just like took a whole left turn.
Just took a fucking U-turn. Like, I don't know what we're talking about.
No, I mean it's
you
still
just fucking veered off the
related.
road into the woods or something.
Into the ditch. The fact that we are encouraging, like the fact that I was so okay with this in college is absolutely fucking ridiculous. Like,
okay with what? Okay with this field? Or okay with
the fact that I'm gonna not have a job. Like, okay with the fact that I'm gonna spend an obnoxious amount of money to get an education to not have a job afterwards, and that's why I'm a really big.
Is that drilled into students' head enough?
Huh?
Is that drilled into students' head enough that what you're doing has to be something that is marketable skill-wise? Whether it's your major or your minor, or just what skill set you have that you can make money to survive on. Like doing so, you know, I don't know, but I don't know that you would get as much as you. I don't know the gap between what you got in a bachelor's of fine arts versus my minor in fine arts.
Right.
I don't know the difference there and the amount of knowledge difference that you got, or like amount that you got to do. But yeah, you almost have to minor in something or major in something that you can get a job. Otherwise, you're doing some part-time job that you might not have even needed a degree for. Right.
Well, and that's the whole thing, right? It's like, why are we even going to school to be an artist, to be a potter, to be anything, when they teach you the fundamentals, but they never teach you how to be successful. You know, and I could be wrong. Like, I don't know. I've never been to Alfred. Like, I've never been to a fucking fine ass, ceramics college.
That one professor that teaches at NKU, he actually did go to Alfred. That's the one I was thinking we should talk with. Yeah.
Oh, we should. Yeah, but like, I never went to Alfred, so I don't have that experience. But like, why are we telling these kids to go to college for ceramics when you could go to your studio down the street and look on YouTube and do workshops and pay a hell of a lot less money, get a lot more
that's not as structured though.
I know it's not as structured.
Some teenagers or high teenagers need 18 and up need a little bit more structure in their lives than saying you could learn all this stuff on YouTube.
Not even on YouTube, but like from other people, like in the community, and by doing workshops and you know, by like almost even making your own curriculum.
Yeah. I mean, you have to be pretty motivated to do that too. You have to have
but you have to be motivated to. Yeah, but you have to be motivated to like have your own business.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of artists don't even want to do the business side of it. They don't care about the business side of it. They just want to be artists.
Don't want to do the business side. There needs to be some sort of like a buddy program. Like a buddy program between the artists and the business people. Like, poor, over creative artists looking for rich, under creative businessman. We'll be a perfect team.
Or like, if there's a way that the curriculum could be, because when you did a bachelor's, like, don't you have to do like some crazy project and stuff that's very art focused when you graduate?
Senior project?
Yeah, like, is there a way that project could be, like, when you hit the end of your thing, you have to keep business in mind too, of like how would this be,
that would be nice,
received by like customers, rather than like a gallery opening. You know, like, it wouldn't make sense for me to do that, but like as functional pottery, I mean, another person that I was in school with, like, he did a full like dinnerware set that was like an 18-piece dinnerware set or something around a big table, and like that was his like senior thing. But maybe if there's a way that the curriculum had some kind of business built in where you had to make it marketable, or you know,
you had to have somebody buy it.
Yeah, I don't know.
That should be it, right? That should be you get an A if somebody buys it. Like you can graduate if somebody buys your piece.
It's usually an afterthought. It's like, hey, I have all this stuff that I made from my senior show. I'm selling it for $40 a mug or something. Buy it, and it's going to pay my bills after I graduate, and I'm going to start paying down my debt with it or something like that.
Did I ever tell you what my senior project was in college?
No.
Oh, God. I don't even know if I have pictures. I am like the least sentimental person on the face of the planet. But my senior project was essentially, what was it called? Okay, it was called The Otis Micmac of Imaginations, featuring Becca's Balls of Steel.
That was like the title of your show?
No, it wasn't a show.
Oh, it wasn't like a senior show. Like all the seniors that are graduating, show. You put in this gallery and you all have your own little corner of the gallery.
So the piece was who's that guy that does the mazes that like one affects the next? I
have no idea.
Oh shit. I'm not going to be able to explain this without that. Anyway, it was a frame, and it had a... by the way, Becca's balls of steel were Steel, but I spelled it wrong on the thingy. I'd also like to mention that I left college with 3 professors hating me, and 2 of them, I think, were a direct result of this senior project.
Sounds sculptural to me.
It was very sculptural. So it was basically a frame that I painted like really shittily. And then it had a... you would shoot I just got like basically steel marbles, and you shoot that in, and then it went down this whole maze of things. It like went through a pegboard that I made, and then it bounced off of a rubber band stretched over a cut piece of glass, and then it moved into like this children's book that I routed out a maze through, and then it went into a xylophone, and then it went into all these other different things.
Oh, so it's like multimedia. That's not even all clay.
It was definitely not all clay. And then it kind of like
I don't know
moved
what you
down,
call
and then somebody will be yelling. Somebody's yelling at us right now, telling us what it is. And then at the very bottom, there's like this kind. There at the bottom there was this like doohickey, and then there was a bunch of tiny pinch pots at the bottom, like the small bowls. Pinch pots, not they were thrown. And then if you got a ball into one of the pinch pots, you got to keep the pinch pot. So it was like a game. So so you gotta take that, and it was like the prize, right? And I'd like put directions behind it and stuff like that. But I think that
obviously you didn't sell that thing, I'm guessing, right? The whole thing.
Oh no. No, I like rolled it down to the art department and left it there.
It's just a graveyard of senior projects somewhere.
But like, I was like, I think that I just subconsciously just like was like, this is fucking dumb. Like, how is this gonna help me in my future? You know? And it was like a really fun project, but it was just.
Oh my gosh.
It's just crazy. Like, all the kids loved it. But yeah, it had nothing to do with my future. Like, nothing.
Because you weren't going to be an installation artist.
No. And I wasn't going to sell it, but I wonder if I'd actually tried harder or like done. You know, I kind of didn't take college very seriously. I did, but I didn't. Like, I actually did take it extremely seriously, but at the same time, I was mocking it. I think my artist statement was, I do what I want. But
sounds like you.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, anyway, that was not related to anything, but I just wanted to tell you what it was about.
I wonder if it's like I felt like most of the studio classes for the BFA like were very studio heavy. Like you're just making stuff, right? I don't know how much focus there is on like in the classroom kind of stuff where maybe you're not learning from an art professor. You're learning from somebody who knows how to make a business plan or...
Yeah. I figured out the name. It's Rube Goldberg.
Rube Goldberg.
Rube Goldberg.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. It has to be a shift in the curriculum, right? I mean...
Yeah.
I mean...
I just think
I think you just have to have an interest in it. You have to have an interest to take classes as electives or as a minor in something that is going to benefit you to make a business out of what you want to be. Or maybe you're just doing it because you have an interest in clay and you want to teach clay. So your minor is probably like art education or something like that. Or you double major.
Yeah, but then you have to know, like you would have to know to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like you would have to know to do that.
I mean, I think a lot of people are like, I want to be a teacher, but I really love clay. So you take...
Yeah.
maybe double major, or I don't know if art education
Yeah, but that's
is
like the
something that you...
that's like the easy part, right? Like if there's an artist that's like, I want to be a painter, are you immediately going to be like, oh, I should probably take business classes?
No.
No.
That needs to be something you...
That needs to be something that somebody
kind of
tells
meet with
them.
college counselor, right? You meet with a college advisor, and that needs to be discussed.
Yeah. I never met with a college advisor.
Do you, I don't know if I don't remember if you talk with your college advisor. I mean, you do kind of when you get started because you don't really know how to register for classes and all that shit.
Mm-hmm.
But the whole, talking real, like, numbers a little bit of data of, like, what's the average income of somebody in your major coming out of this college after 5 years after you get out of school? Like,
yeah.
If you knew that kind of stuff when you went in and you were in your first couple years of school, like, would that help you firm up your decision of what you want to do? Or does that, like, I feel like that doesn't come into play. You have to have interest in, like,
I agree.
look that stuff up.
I agree. I think that, I mean, like, I never got that. Nobody ever talked to me. And also, I don't know if you heard me murmur, but my mother was my college advisor in high school. So,
really?
But yeah, I also think that I'm a strong proponent of going in with your, like, without a plan and then figuring out what you like. I think that there should be some sort of like a purgatory between college and high school where it's like, this is everything you could do. Like, here. Like, here's all of these things that are potentially... I feel like it's so loud. Here's all these things that are potentially something you could do in college or do in life. And have, like, a really good big crash course of, hey, architecture.
I think it's a matter of just looking down a list of majors. And you're just like, that sounds fun.
Right. Like you're like, what's that? And if somebody had done that, like if I had gone through this weird crash course of like, this is architecture, this is landscape design, this is chemical engineering, this is kinesiology, like, then I would have probably picked architecture.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Or industrial design. And
I think there could be something there with, like, the advisor thing. If that's explained more. I know in at least the school I went to, I think they collected some information after we graduated. Like, they kind of, I think you fill out, I don't know if it's an anonymous survey or whatnot, but you fill in, like, what major what you're majoring in, and we even put, like, our annual income. And then they kind of did it based on, the top 5 earning majors at our school. Like, my degree was in one of the top 5 earning majors coming out of graduation or something. Whether it was like baseline. What's that?
I said that surprises me not.
Not. Or the, like, I think it would be cool to be like, all right, these are kind of the scale of all the majors, and, like, what kind of income you could be looking at coming out. And then maybe, like, 5 years down the road, what is your income, and, like, do they stay in that field? Like, I think those would be interesting to kind of talk with an advisor about. I don't know, maybe those discussions happen when you're not sure what you want to do. Mine were mostly like, all right, here's the classes you got to take, here's what you've already taken, check it off. Here's kind of, if you were to scale that out for 4 years, here's how you would kind of accomplish that with a major and a minor in this.
Yeah, well, and let's also not forget the kids that are in high school that are taking college classes, too. Like, for the last 2 years of their high school. Like, I could be alone in this lovely opinion, but I think that's... I think it's a disservice to these kids, and definitely not because of the money. I think that that's a great thing, like saving money. But there's so much to be learned in, like, the 4 years of college in life, like life learning and also, we should probably say also, college is definitely not needed within life. But, like, But
Depends
even
on what
so,
kind of job you're doing. I mean, some jobs,
yeah, it
it's
depends
a
on what kind of job
requirement.
you're doing. But even so, like, the 4 years after high school, you go through so many different life situations that you learn about. Like, you're gaining independence. You're, you're learning new things. You have to do certain things that you never would have done before. And
You could be in a new place with like people you don't know, and you've got to
people you don't know.
find sources of
Yeah.
like support and relationship stuff.
Right.
And like, there's a lot that goes
Yeah,
into
and
that.
like, people always ask me, I don't know why, but like a ton of people have always have asked me like if they should go to college for ceramics or whatever, and I, or just in general when I'm talking to like my friends' kids that are going to college, and I'm always like, you know what, college is such bullshit, but it's also such important bullshit. Like, it's like, did I learn anything in college that I couldn't have learned outside of college? No. Specifically in art, no. But was the experience that I had in college extremely important to my development as a human being? Absolutely. And I think that that's the way it is for a lot of people. And it's same with the next 4 years after your high school. If you choose not to go to college, there's a lot of developmental like things that happen. And but like, when these kids are going through half of college in high school and then they go straight into their junior year of college, and they're missing out on all the like the stressful times that you had as a freshman. And I mean, like, I get it. I understand that there's like a lot of money involved, and like, who wants to spend that money anyway? But
It could set them up to experiment more too, though, because they're ahead of the game.
Yeah.
They could go in
guess.
and take more electives and take interesting courses that like they
true.
want to take, because they don't have to fit this 4-year mold of, well, if you want to major in this and minor in this, you have to take these classes, and you basically have room for like 3 electives. All right, pick 3 things that you want to do. They could have like 8 things they want to do.
Yeah, but I feel like the general mindset, from what I've experienced, the general mindset is, oh, now I can get out of school in 2 years. You know?
It depends on the
It's not
personality
about-
of the student.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
I mean, some of those
But here we are talking about
students could
college,
really
and we know
love
nothing about it anyway.
school.
So here we are. Yeah.
I think it, like, for me, I come at it thinking about, it comes to the like self-awareness of, what are you skilled in? Are you disciplined enough that you need, or you're not disciplined enough that you need structure? You like the school format, the semesters, that you're going to be, intensive for a semester. You're going to focus on these things. You're going to learn these classes, go through the cycle of going to class, the grading, the end of it. You're going to kind of build up and learn all this stuff through the semester, and then you're going to take tests and all that thing, and then you're going to have a break, and you're going to have time to yourself and do whatever, work or not work or whatever. If somebody's like super disciplined and they're motivated and they know what they want to do and they want to do pottery, like, maybe they don't need that structure. Maybe they would totally benefit from doing it all outside of school, saving the money, spending, $2,000 on a kiln or something, or a wheel in a kiln, and doing that, and then getting a job outside of clay and just making some money to dig into what they want to learn in clay in their spare time. And college is a disservice to them. I don't know. I think it depends on the person.
Well, also we haven't really talked about like apprenticeships. Now that we've completely flipped around our entire like episode theme, I think that we should call this episode "We Don't Know What Happened." I'm sorry. We don't know. But like, apprenticeships are so important. Like, some of the most talented potters that I've ever met never went to college and never learned a goddamn thing from college. They learned it from a guy in the middle of a fucking desert or in the middle of a forest, and who had like 5 fucking wood burning kilns, and like that's it. They just
Mm-hmm.
they just went to somebody's house or went to somebody's business and learned how to do it. Like it's like production potters. How many production potters do you know have actually like learned how to do pottery in college? Like
No idea.
They just went. Yeah, I don't even. But they just like they went to somebody and was like, "Hey, can I throw pottery for you? Can you teach me? I'll make your clay. I'll mix your clay for you."
Yeah.
Like. It's like a trade situation, and we do that so much in the clay community, and that's. I kind of feel like that is. I feel like we have this shift that we're so focused on college in the clay community, and it didn't used to be like that. It used to be like so craft based, and like. You could learn this from this random dude down in North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Versus now it's like, hey, go to school and spend $1 billion and then get this degree and be the same as every single fucking person out there. Because this is my cynical nature coming through. Because, well, and I guess you're the same as every other person if you do the pottery route too. But still,
Makes for a great story, though.
yeah, it does, doesn't it? But, like, yeah, it's like we're in this shift where apprenticeships aren't even, like, they're so rare.
How many apprenticeships are out there? How do you find apprenticeships? How do you know, like, the timing of when an apprenticeship comes up and that you're available? Like, are you holding out hope?
ask.
Are you just making a bunch of work? Making those connections and figuring out the right people to ask and put yourself in the right circles is still a process that has to happen for you to...
Yeah, you're right. I have a friend that actually just got an apprenticeship today. Like, he messaged me and was like, hey, I might get this, like, a couple weeks ago. And then he just got it today, which is, like, so fucking cool. But, God, it's so much more cheaper. That's for sure.
And I feel like the apprenticeship thing, the person who's hiring for that, I don't know that they... It depends on who you are. But I would say, like, if I were getting an apprentice, like, I wouldn't care to look at, like, a CV and a resume and a...
No.
Like, I want to know what you've done, what you're experienced in, what you're interested in, what kind of, excitement do you have for what you want to do, or... are you, all that kind of thing.
Are you going to steal my things?
Yeah, are you trustworthy? Are you reliable?
Yeah.
Do you seem like you're kind of flaky, or are you pretty punctual? Are you responsive? Like, stuff like that, I think, is more important than, oh, what did you major in this? What shows have you done? Like, what exhibitions have you done?
Totally. And guess what? Guess what an apprenticeship does that college doesn't do? It gives you a bird's eye view. No. A worm's eye view. It gives you an up close and personal view of how a business is run. How they're running their entire process and like system, and how that works for them, and if you want to do it that way and if you don't. Like, yeah.
I was kind of thinking about that a little bit recently, because my one assistant is working full-time. She's starting to work full-time at a production studio here in Cincinnati. She's been doing like 1 day a week for me, and then the other is interested. She's actually looking for like full-time employment elsewhere. She's been like working at Starbucks and stuff, but went to school in art. One of them went to school in art, and then been working at Starbucks and whatnot, and looking for a full-time job that's a little bit different. I'm not sure exactly if it's in the art space, but something different, something stable. And like, I may not have time to do the assistant stuff. So I'm trying to figure out how I want to structure, do I want to get somebody that is like learning under me, like an apprentice kind of thing, or do I want somebody that is strictly doing like, here's a list of things, can you do them? Like doing a to-do list for me where it's more hands-off, like there's not as much one-on-one time as we're doing things. Versus yeah, just kind of between those two. So kind of figuring out like what I want to do in that realm. But it's like, I mean, do you gain enough exposure and enough knowledge like just doing things for somebody that's in this space?
You fucking can, I can tell you that. I don't know if I've really said this, but I don't know if I actually really tell anybody this. But when I went to college, the ceramics department, my ceramics teacher was really great. She was really awesome. However, I attribute this a lot to me as well. I was so focused on, like, all I wanted to do was throw and make just pieces that I had no interest in running a kiln. I had no interest in learning how to do anything. I did learn how to do, like, mix glazes and stuff, but it was very minimal. And I mean, I went through 3 years of in the ceramics department, and I was the tech, and I when I left college, I probably, if I'm being honest, had a high school education in ceramics. Mostly my own fault.
It sounds like you're just stubborn and you just always wanted wheel throwing to be the backbone of whatever you were doing. Like, okay,
That's 100%
you need a glaze
true.
project? All right, let me throw like 16 pieces and I'll just throw the glaze on there to say that I did the glaze part of the project. But
that's 150% true. And but so anyway, I left college thinking I was hot shit, but really not at all. And
like, imagine how much more you would have learned in that studio assistant role or studio tech role if you would have like changed elements. I don't know if you did that, but changed elements and mixed clays. Oh God, no.
I think I only ran the bisque kiln once, and that actually wasn't my fault. Like, she wasn't very. There was not a lot of teaching in the the running of. She didn't trust us. Yeah. So but yeah, so and then when I left with this high school ceramics degree, I went around the country, and then I ended up in Washington, and then I ended up taking classes from Larry Bruning, who was a production potter, and I learned almost everything from Larry.
Were you taking like instructions from him, like he was teaching and there was like a few wheels and he was teaching a class of people, or was it more like you were getting studio space?
So I would go to class every Thursday or Friday, I think, and it was essentially just studio time. But I would also be there, like they had studio time every day in the weekends. But more importantly, I had grown up a little bit, and I watched everything that they did. Everything. And he was essentially my mentor, but I don't think he knew that.
You're just like a fly on the wall, and
yeah,
he was teaching you so much from a distance.
Yeah, I was sitting and watching him throw for hours, and I was, I learned so much more from Larry Bruning just from like opening up my eyes than I did in college. And I had to pay for that too, though. I will have to say that. But and then the rest came from like YouTube and Simon Leach and talking to other people and stuff. But yeah, I think that like my form of education is very different than a lot of, like, it's not actually all that different from a lot of people, but I think that a lot of people think that I learned most of what I did in college, and that is absolutely 100% not the case. Like, I'd never fired a kiln until 2014.
Yeah. I probably got the
So-
taste for the most different types of firing methods and things like that from college. With the
Yeah.
oxidation kiln, the gas kiln, the Sager firings, the pit firing, the raku firing, the wood firing. We didn't do like salt or soda, but like the breadth of all the different firing methods. Like that's, I feel like, what I got the most. And like how to make glaze. I learned that too.
Yeah, we did regular gas firing, and then we did a wood fire. A charcoal firing, and that was it. I've never, to this day, I have never done a raku firing.
Really?
I've also never done a wood firing. I've also never done a soda firing.
We had to.
I have.
We had to learn how to run a raku kiln for our final project of the alternative firings class. We had to like talk the teacher through what we were doing as we were firing the kiln and stuff like that.
My professor was mentored by Paul Soldner, who is known as kind of like the raku king of the ceramics world, and so she hated raku with a flaming passion. So we never did one, but yeah, I mean, like, I'm very, yeah, I don't even know why I started this story, but I think it was mostly just to say that, like, like, the amount of things that I learned from college versus the amount of things I learned from Larry Bruning, and also, like, watching him run his business and seeing how they did certain things. And then I learned about how to run a business from working at Sherwin-Williams and working at Amesbury's Painting. And, but it had nothing to do with college. like nothing. And here we are.
And here we are.
The only thing that college gave me was the introduction to ceramics. Like, I would have never taken ceramics had I not heard that it was easy.
So you probably wouldn't even have been in clay if you didn't go to college.
No, I wouldn't have. So that's why I can't tell people not to go to college, because, like, it actually did one thing for me that affected the rest of my life, but, like, at the same time.
Wow. All right, bringing it back to maintenance and innovation. The one thing that you did mention about the studio tech and the pruning and stuff, something that's also, like, underestimated is the maintenance of how to fire a kiln, how to, like, replace elements on a kiln, like mixing glazes to a consistent state so that it's reproducible and you have good quality, and you're not, like, chasing, you know, or putting fires out when stuff comes up. You actually know how to replace elements and know where to order them and know how much it's going to cost to order them, and you can afford to do it, and, you know, you're saving that money for a reason so that you can buy a kiln when a kiln shits the bed, or, you know, all that stuff that goes into running the studio smoothly. And I don't know that I learned all that stuff. I think I mostly learned all the kiln stuff, like, after I got my own kiln, you know? Starting with a small kiln, and you learn it on a small scale, and then you ramp it up and do it on a bigger scale.
Did you, I don't know if it's maybe my mechanical brain or not, but, like, when you opened up your first kiln, were you like, oh yeah, this makes sense? Like,
I mean, I think I fired enough at school and stuff that I mean, we had the electronic controllers, but I think you kind of get it a lot more when you're firing a gas kiln.
No. I mean, like, when you opened it up, like, literally, like, looked inside the mechanics of the kiln and was, like, about to change your first set of elements.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's true.
I feel like everybody is like, God, it's so hard. And I looked inside and I was like, this is not hard.
Yeah,
you connect one thing to the next.
Yeah, it's like there's one huge cord going to the power, and all that power is coming through, and it's just being dispersed through the multiple elements. It's like,
it just looks really scary, and it's not.
Yeah,
that's what I feel like.
And it takes some elbow grease to get them out of there and replace them. And
maintaining that is extremely important. and not necessarily innovative at all.
No.
Like you gotta make sure it's the same as it was. You can't make it any better than it is. I mean, you can, but sometimes there's no point.
Power through it.
Yeah.
I mean, so much of the, like, what we're doing to make the business scalable is just putting your head down and doing the work. Making all the pots that you need to make because you know they're going to be sellable. You know that's your bread and butter. You know you need to sell stuff so that you have time to make the stuff that you like more, or, you know, the innovative stuff that you want to make.
Yeah.
And maybe doing, like, custom orders, maybe that's a little innovative for you. Maybe that's a little bit of a challenge that's different because you need to solve a problem of what a customer's wants are. You know, I made that, like, ostrich egg base. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, so I just finished it, and I made like 4 different ones, and they were different diameters. But I knew the theme was I need to make this shallow dish that kind of looked like a ramekin or something, a creme brulee. And I needed to make it so that the egg didn't sit so far down into it, but it was wide enough that it was stable so it didn't, like, move. So, you know, I had to come up with the different diameters that worked, as well as, like, the top of the rim so that it would, like, kind of cradle the egg versus like just a regular lip that doesn't really hold it as good. So, like, that was kind of an interesting challenge. I made 4 of them. You figure out which one works best, and I paid for it, and they really like it, and they're gonna love it.
And they're gonna love it.
That's kind of a fun little, and then I get to, like, sell the other 3 just to put them up and be like, hey, I'm selling these for this amount. Like, who wants it? Because I'm probably never gonna make that form again unless it's for a custom or something, you know.
I did like that form though. I like that size.
Yeah.
Can we talk about some? I feel like sometime we should talk about design within pottery sometime.
What about design, like form?
Yeah, like form and function. That'd be fun.
Sure. Have a little bit more questions on the books to keep us on track.
Yeah, it would have been like, I was so excited. I feel like if we had done this podcast yesterday when that other podcast was fresh in my brain, it would have been really, really good. But I've had a lot of time to think today about other things, and so then it just got kind of like by the wayside.
Yeah. It's interesting how there's some topic that comes into your brain one day and you just dig so deep into it and you're like, this is so important. Why do we not talk about this more? And then it's just by the wayside like the next day.
And then it's gone. It's just gone. Yeah, it is really interesting. I'm like, God, I was so stoked about it. We had such a good talk. I had such a good talk about it with a friend. And, yeah. Do you know what the one thing that I really liked about that one podcast, the maintenance podcast versus innovation, or
the praise of maintenance, the freaking hours
praise
one?
of maintenance. I love how that lady was like, "Who runs the world? Plumbers. Plumbers run the world." I'm like, that's fucking true. Plumbers do run the world.
Well, it kind of goes to the talk about essential work and stuff in 2020 during COVID. It's like, who keeps the lights on and who keeps it going and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, we got to keep the train on the tracks. There's not a lot of you can't just keep doing brand new stuff all the time. You got to keep the infrastructure maintained, or else it doesn't keep going.
Yeah. Somebody just knocked on the door here. He's trying to talk to me.
Creepy.
I think they're smoking out there. Anyway, moving on. The curtains. Maybe next time I should put the curtains down.
Yeah.
Yes. I didn't hear a damn thing.
Basically just valuing the stuff to keep the train on the tracks, keep it going, keep it moving, and how that related to essential work. So.
Yeah. even though this was a clusterfuck, I feel like we had...
I loved your college rant. I mean, that's just great. I can't wait to talk with a college professor and see.
I have such mixed feelings about college. I really do.
Oh, man.
I hope that I'm sure that there are programs that are out there that are better than the one that I went to.
The thing is, we can only talk
Positive,
in relation
actually.
to our personal experience. So
Yeah.
we only went to one university in one place. Like, I don't know. I didn't look at I enrolled in one university, got accepted into one university, and I went to that one university. Like, I wasn't scouting
it.
out. You know, actually, what got me to go there was when I was doing the college visit. I went over to the ceramics department, and I think they were doing a wood firing that day, and it was cool because like there were people out there, and it was like the community thing. I think they were doing pizza, so like just went over and visited and like had a piece of pizza and chatted with one of the professors, and you know, some students were out there stoking the kiln, and like the ceramics facility is what was like solidified. Like, hey, I want to go here. Besides, you know, they had IT degrees and stuff. But yeah.
I didn't even know what pottery was until my second year of college, so I can't really say anything for that. But
yeah. All right. Is there anything else? We almost pushed 2 hours in this damn thing.
I know. I don't know how that even happened. It's almost midnight.
We basically answered, do you need to go to college for ceramics, in the back half of this discussion.
Oh, God. Yeah, no, nothing. I got nothing.
All right.
Don't do drugs. Stay off the streets.
Was that one of the anonymous things you should say in there from the survey? Like drink and eat more dairy or something?
Yeah. There was one that said eat more dairy. I thought that was so funny. Yeah, I don't know.
All right.
Stay classy.
Stay classy, San Diego. All right. All right. Thanks everybody for listening, and we'll catch you next time.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Hey guys, thank you so much for listening to our podcast. We really appreciate it, and we're having so much fun. If you want to follow us individually on Instagram, you totally can. Ryan's Instagram handle is @RDCeramics, and mine is 5 Lines Pottery. That's the number 5. We would love to hear from you, and don't forget to write us a review on our podcast. We read every single one of them, and we totally appreciate them. They help us out an awful lot, and they also put smiles on our faces. I hope you guys continue to listen, and we love you. Thanks. Bye.